In this video, basically, it's just another video, like I made a video just now, which was the problem of consequential ethics. In this video, I want to talk about the problem of deontological ethics. And this is just, I just want to make this video as a standalone, but I made a video about an article by Kantian, and that is in this book, Ethical Theory by Poyman, which is it's pretty thick, it's pretty good resource on ethical theory articles. It's a pretty nice anthology. In that article, what Kantian does, he basically talked about why moral conservatism or moral absolutism or deontology basically is not really correct, and why consequentialism is more right. Now, I don't think consequentialism is right, but I agree with him as to why moral absolutism or moral conservatism or whatever you want to call it is incorrect. And he gives two cases, and I'll explain one of them to you. He gives you the case of the magistrate and the murderer, and the case of the innocent fat man. Now, if you want to hear about that article, I have a separate video for that. The case of the innocent fat man, basically there's this big group of people that is in this cave, and I forget, but I think there was a cave in a little bit, but then there was a small hole there, and then the fat man, which was one of the men of the group, tried to go through the hole and then got stuck, and he can't get out. And there's a lot of other people there, and they try various measures and try to get him out of there. And the cave is going to fill up with water pretty soon. I forget if that's because of the tide or what, but the water is going to fill up with, or the cave is going to fill up with water quite soon, and they all have to get out of there. So they can't get him out. He's stuck there, and one of the people happens to have a stick of dynamite there with it. And the question is it right to blow the fat man out of the cave in order to save everybody else, which is a large number of people? And it comes down to that, that old ethical quandary, or that problem about, is it right or is it good to to kill someone, to kill someone if that means saving many other lives? And of course, they're going through every measure they can before doing that, and they that's like a last resort. Blowing him out is the last resort, and what Nielsen is doing is he's trying to show that if you try to set up a morally absolute duty or obligation, that there is instances in which that is not going to work. That there are instances in which there are scenarios in which not following that rule would be more good or more ethical. Personally, I think that that if that were to happen, and there's no other way to get him out of there in order to save everybody else, I think it's more ethical to blow him out with the dynamite, rather than to have everybody except him die. But then he would probably die anyway, because he's stuck there and he can't get out. His head is not inside of the cave. But I think it's more ethical to blow him out of there and to save everybody else, which is quite a large amount of people. I think that more lives are worth more than just one life, even if we're talking about doing something that is typically unethical. And the problem, and I guess I'm going to title this video about with the problem of moral absolutism. And I'm talking about any kind of theory where we're talking about Kant's categorical imperative. Even then, there's probably some kind of case where there's probably a case for each of those where it'd be probably more ethical to not follow that, except for maybe the humanity one, as to not make humanity the means, if I forget, I haven't read that for a while, but I think that one actually has one too. Now that I think about it, the point is that he's showing there that you can't successfully universalize any moral absolute duty. You can't successfully universalize it. It's because there's always going to be some kind of case where it's better to not follow it. It's kind of like we have the case, or we have the typical common sense morality kind of thing, which is that we should not kill that we should not kill people. We should not murder. And in the case of the innocent fat man, it's more ethical to murder him than it is ethical to murder everybody. But still, in either case, we're talking about murder, and it comes down to it's more ethical. If we have which option we have the least amount of murder as the one that's more ethical, and the one that is more ethical involves killing the fat man because that's the least amount of murder. So the problem with moral absolutism or deontology or moral conservatism or whatever you want to call it is that in anything that we try to universalize, there's going to be some kind of case where it's going to be unethical to follow it because there's a more ethical option, and I think that basically what Kai Nielsen has done in that article is to show that he kind of has shown that no moral duty is absolute, because there's always cases in which there's a more ethical option. I go into it a little more in depth in my other video, but even when it comes to lying, Kant would say we should never ever lie, no matter what the circumstances, ever. Like, never ever lie ever. And I think that's wrong, because if we never ever lie, then we probably would, for one, we probably have less friends, because I mean it's happened like a million times to me, where somebody asks me, hey, how do you like how I did this, or how do you like the way I look, or how do you like this or that? If you tell the truth there, you would very likely, if someone if someone gets a new haircut, it makes me think about Liar Liar, where Jim Carrey, he sees this woman that has a crazy horrible haircut, and she asks him, "Hey, how do you like my hair?" And I think that's when he has the little trance on him, which is where he can't lie, and he says, "Oh, it's terrible." That hurts people's feelings, and I think that's unethical to hurt someone's feelings. Now, it's different if we're trying to give constructive criticism, but I think it's wrong to just always say to a person, "Hey, you look like crap. You should change something." I think we would have a lot less friends if we didn't lie, sometimes, you know, I do have a good amount of friends, and I think I would have maybe only one friend if I, you know, told them the truth all the time, you know, because it's more ethical to be careful with the person's emotions, and be careful with the person's feelings, rather than just always live by this rule of never ever lying. So that's the problem with moral absolutism, and I think that's just the problem. You know, it's the problem, because we can't ever it's the problem of universalizing it. We can't ever universalize any duty or obligation. I think that the best way to go about having a normative ethical theory, and I've said this many times on my channel here. Sorry, I'm coughing a lot. Is that we should ascribe good and right and virtuosity, or virtuousness, whatever you want to call it, to being a certain person, being a good person, being the best person that you can be, living by a few certain virtues. And I think living by virtue is augmenting who you are. And there, you know, I've talked about an article in here by Walter Schaller that says that virtues are the same thing as obligation. I think that's what it was. Interesting. Let me know if you think that moral absolutism in any of its forms can get around this objection, or if you think I've done something wrong, or if you think I've messed something up, or if you think there's something I'm missing. Tell me below, or tell me on the side. I think in the comments. I'd like to discuss it.